Radio for the people. The only show that just brings you those touching issues from real people. And we are opening up the book today, man. I have a feeling that we're going to end up talking, once again, more about music than anything else. Oh, well. I'm forever getting into trouble with the producers. So already I am saying it now. Do excuse me to the producers, because we are going to misbehave. Why am I saying that, man? It is because with us in studio, we have senior lecturer. Actually, this man wears so many hats, it's not even funny. We were just talking right now that I think it's going to get to a point where I need to be consulting with his management in his team. You know how famous people are. You know how famous people are. So it's going to get to that point, man. But he is a senior lecturer out at the Southwest Gauteng College, that is. He's taken on many other roles. The one other thing as well is that he's a musician. Yeah, he is a musician. So we're going to delve into that one there as well. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Mr. Nhlanhla.
Grootman Njani.
No, and the phone vibrates.
Yeah.
As we
It's like a public phone, this one.
Oh my goodness, man. I'll tell him.
Yes, sir.
I think you and I have been threatening this for a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
And to get you in here, it's been hectic, man. Meetings after meetings. Well,
yeah.
That's your life. Meetings after meetings and everything else. But eventually, here you are.
Thank God.
Now, let's start here, my guy. Nhlanhla. Who is Nhlanhla?
Nhlanhla is an Eastern cat.
Yeah?
If I can put it that way.
Sure.
He's an Eastern cat from Davidson. 30-odd years old. I won't go into how many, but 30-odd years old.
30s are the best, man.
They are. That's when you really know yourself. You
Sure.
don't have to prove anything to anyone else. Yeah. So 30-odd years, I'm married.
Sure.
2 children. Just an amendment, a minor amendment on me being a senior lecturer. I'm not actually a senior lecturer.
Okay.
I represent a unit within a college that is called the New Business Development Unit, which is basically responsible for partnerships, going out into businesses, liaising with the CETAs, liaising with host employers, so that we can place learners in internships, learnerships.
In terms of new business, I mean, we're just talking right now. There's been movements around the college and everything else.
Yes,
it's a new responsibility that you've taken on.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Now acting as the manager of the unit currently.
Okay.
Before the appointment of a permanent manager.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's quite difficult but very challenging and beautiful at the same time because we are changing lives.
Yeah. But how's that going for you, man? I mean, here's Nhlanhla.
Yeah.
Davidson, you have a musical background. You're part of a band. I mean, we're gonna talk about that later on.
Yeah.
And now this corporate switch.
Yeah.
You know, and you are now responsible for having to go out.
Yeah.
And kind of get new business for the college and everything. How's that going for you?
It's going very well. I think some of the background for music actually helps.
Sure.
Because then if you are in the front line of a band, you do not have time to be scared.
So, I got you. Yeah.
So you are able to take those lessons from the musical background and actually use them when you're meeting corporate clients.
Sure.
And it allows you to engage. It's almost like you're going to an audience. And you are speaking to this audience at their level, depending on which level that they are, but you're trying to engage them personally so that you can get what you want professionally.
Let's talk school.
Yep.
Where did you matriculate?
Yeah.
And what did you do after matric?
I matriculated at the Willowmore High School, which is now many years ago. I know I sound like a grandpa.
You graduated in
I'm
the 90s.
going there.
Don't let me say when in the 90s. You just graduated in the 90s.
In the late
part of an era,
90s.
my guy. You're part of a legendary era.
Yeah, I graduated in the very late 90s.
Yeah.
My matric, and I then moved to Vets. It used to be called Vets Tech. I was unable
Which
to
one?
the Auckland Park one.
Okay.
The legendary Vets Tech. Yeah, then we moved to Vets Tech. When I was at Vets Tech, basically when I graduated from high school, I wanted to do copywriting. And unfortunately, back then, finances at home, I couldn't do copywriting. I ended up at Vets Tech, and I was doing production. I was very frustrated.
Yeah.
Looking back now, maybe I should have taken more advantage of that opportunity, but instead I sort of deviated a little bit. But basically, that is when I explored my musical side the most, not the side where we're talking books. I forgot about books for a while.
Yeah.
I then after a couple of years I dropped out.
Okay.
Then I went into the Old Vista.
Okay.
Yeah, Old Vista Davidson campus.
Oh.
Yes. So I went through the motions. Sure. It was first Vista, then I was at Rao, and then I was at UJ.
Yes.
In the same in the same curriculum path. Yeah, in the same curriculum path. So yeah, I graduated at UJ eventually with my BCom. I'm currently doing my honors.
Okay.
I've also had short courses in marketing, musical for music specifically, and I'm a trained assessor, trained facilitator, trained moderator. Sure. Yeah.
But now at home, Joe, let's go back home. I mean, you matriculate, Vets Tech, there you are, you drop out. What's the conversation at home?
I think the conversation at home was, I had brothers that were, your perfect brothers. I had those perfect brothers.
Are they older?
They're older than me, both of them. One unfortunately passed on.
So you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
All right.
The cutest too. Just to throw it in
so
there.
I can see why you're dropping out and you're moving around so much.
Yeah, no. Yes, no, definitely. The young ones are always the ones that want to explore and see new things and change the status quo at home. But you eventually find yourself over time. So both of my brothers were the perfect graduates. 3 years
academics.
In, academics, yes. 3 years in, finished, record time.
Sure.
Work.
Yeah.
Get married.
What's our wena manje?
Yes, riding.
Oh my word.
Yes, riding. I had to change everything. I think very from a very young age, I've been different from my brothers.
Okay.
In many aspects. Sure. I had more friends. I went out early at a younger age. At about 15, 16, sure. I was going out and coming back at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and the parents were not happy with that, but I was sort of the black sheep of the family.
The black cute sheep.
There you go.
My goodness, man. In case you just joined us right now, we're talking to Nhlanhla. As you just mentioned at the top there, he is now the acting manager within the new business unit for the entire college.
For the entire college, yeah.
And one of your responsibilities is obviously to go out, have liaisons and everything else with new business, especially. Yes. Is those liaisons specifically for the purpose of placing your students within an internship program?
Not necessarily. It's very widespread. Mm-hmm. There are partnerships that we make. For example, we are part of the community. Sure. So we need to impact the community in some or other way. We may have a partnership with someone where we have a soup kitchen, for example. Might not be an internship. We may have a partnership, for example, where the company can come into the college and promote their services. Sure. Maybe in return, we say, please bring one of your people that work at the company that have expertise, so that they can share lessons about the corporate world and the specific subject content. So there are many types of partnerships that we enter into. It's not necessarily boils down to just the internships or work integrated learning. Yeah.
Work integrated learning. What do you do? in terms of like, how do you guys decide
Yeah.
what learners go into certain programs,
Okay.
and obviously with the companies that you guys have those relationships? How
Yeah.
do you make that decision that, okay, fine, learner X, you are going to that place?
You know, what we've seen over the years is that so many companies want the best of the best.
True.
And sometimes the best of the best is not really the best at work. So it may be the opposite. The average one may be the one that really excels at work because they're able to grasp concepts and implement them better than the other person. While the other person maybe was better at studying and actually writing exams.
Yeah.
So when what we do is that we recruit these learners, and we have sort of pre-interviews with them.
Yeah.
And then after the pre-interviews, we allow the company to actually interview them.
True.
So that we are not giving you people that you are not interested in. It wouldn't make sense for us to just give you people unless if the company asks us to say, okay, give me 10 interns,
Yeah.
and I will trust you as a college. But usually we give the company the chance to actually interview
The learner.
the learners,
Okay.
so that they are able to. So, for example, if someone has an opportunity for internships, 5 internships, we will grant that company 10,
Yep.
10 learners so that they can go through the interview process with them. And we expect our learners to be productive.
True.
We expect our learners to actually impact the productivity of the company. They are not there to only make tea or make copies, but those are important too, because servitude, I think a lot of our learners have lost the great lesson of servitude.
Sure.
It's one of the ways in which you can end up knowing the CEO.
True.
Because you serve them coffee every day and they like your coffee.
Yeah.
Then they are now open to other things that you may want to present. But beyond that, we want them to be exposed to the subject content. In the workplace, they must be exposed to the same subject content so that they are able to actually graduate or get the right exposure.
Got you. You're speaking about serving and servanthood and you know,
Yeah.
going into a company to serve and everything else.
Yes.
A lot of times, and weirdly, I was having this conversation with the guys when I was shaving my hair on Saturday or Sunday. Sorry.
But
internships.
you have an afro. What are you talking about? Yes.
You know, and I don't know if it's just within the black communities.
Yeah.
But we have an entitlement. Kind of thing.
Yes.
I've gone through to high school. I have matriculated.
Yes.
Top of my class. I've got a university entrance and whatever it may be. I'm fortunate enough to go to varsity. I get my degree. Why must I come and serve you? Do you know what I mean? What do you mean I must start at the bottom? Because at varsity, nobody was saying to me, you're going to start at the bottom. In high school, nobody's saying to me, you're going... All what I got told was, get a good matric, get into a tertiary institution, get your qualification, and you are made. Now you are coming around and you're talking about internships and serving, you know what I mean? Getting into a workplace, making the coffee, making the copies, cleaning up and all those kind of things. I mean, where did we go wrong? Let me start there.
Okay.
Where do we go wrong in that we have a generation that sort of feels entitled to the finer things in life?
I think it starts on the home front. Honestly, it starts on the home front. Because I think what happens, for example, those minor things, you are now a diploma graduate. You cannot wash dishes at home. At home. So that already speaks to that person that I'm somehow above the other person. And I truly believe that I have a theory. I think life is about zeros.
Okay.
We all start at 0.
Yeah.
You cannot walk. That's 0. You end up being able to walk, but you cannot run. That's 0. Same thing. It goes up. Yes, you always go back to 0. When you just finished your diploma, you are at 0. That's what you must realize. You're not at 10. You're not at 20. That phase has passed. So you now need to realize that you are at 0. And if you realize that you are at 0, you become more open.
Sure.
rather than closing yourself off to say, I'm at 30, 40, 50, and I already know. When you get into that workspace, you are not even you can't be even assimilated into that environment because you already know.
True.
So I think that is the problem. It starts at home. Sometimes it does continue at colleges, and sometimes it does continue at the workplace. But if we go back to the home front, our children, what are we teaching our children? Are we teaching them that, little John, I will give you 10 rand because you deserve it? We come from a generation of parents that lacked and didn't have. So what they do now is try to overcompensate. When little John wants that iPad, mother buys him because he can, and mother doesn't want little John to feel the lack that the mother had.
Because we come from it, so we try to compensate for
We are.
where we're coming from.
Yeah.
Coming to SWGC now, what are the conversations that you guys are having as a learning community?
Yeah.
An institution. What are the conversations that you're having with the learners so that they realize that this whole theory of yours of zeros, you know what I mean? That fine.
Yeah.
You've come in, you've made it.
Yeah.
You're studying here now at SWGC. You've got your qualification, your NQF qualifications and all those kind of things.
Yep.
Now you're back to zero. What are those conversations you guys are having with them?
We are having multiple conversations with them. Firstly, and most importantly, it's the lecturers.
Sure.
These are the people that are molding these minds. So we always make sure, and we speak to these lecturers, to remember that you are not just teaching a subject. It is beyond just teaching a subject.
Yes.
You need to impart.
Sure.
You need to impart yourself. You need to impart your experience. And you need to impart a different way of thinking that will change the whole spectrum of how the community thinks.
True.
So that's where it all starts. Then beyond that, around that, then we will have those workshops. We will have seminars. We will invite big companies to come in and speak to these learners. We will use in large what is known as work-based exposure. Okay. So your work-based exposure, that is when we take the learners to a workspace for about a minimum of 5 days.
All right.
So we take them to the workspace for a minimum of 5 days, and they are there more than anything else to just be exposed. Yeah, to observe, to just understand that you need to come in at 7:30, and 7:30 means 7:15.
There we go.
You need to, if there's a deadline, you need to submit at the deadline or before the deadline. You are not given any extra time for you to be able to submit. So it becomes one of the things that is very important. That is why we are out here also looking for companies that are willing to say, bring me those learners for that period. For example, we just passed the June period where you can host the learners for 3 weeks. You can host the learners during the recess. Yeah, you can host the learners for a full 3 weeks, and they will have a much more in-depth experience. But I tell you, the way the learners change after they come back from that, it changes the way they think. It changes the way they approach their studies. It changes the way they approach themselves.
Sure.
It changes them. Because then they start dreaming again. For example, during this past period, we placed learners at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Just making an example. The learners that came back, the feedback that we got from those learners, there was one learner I was talking to yesterday. She was looking to finish her level 4 and then try to get a job. She came back from PwC. And she had changed her mind completely. And she was saying, I really, 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 really want to study and learn further and improve myself in whichever way so that I can be marketable to the companies.
I'm going to put you on the spot. But unfairly so, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right. I am on the spot.
Looking at the curriculum
Yeah.
the way that the curriculum is.
Yep.
I mean, from when you and I were in school, there's been a major change.
Yeah,
There's been major
definitely.
changes.
Yeah.
But looking at the curriculum right now, do you think it is friendly to the workplace?
Hence the need for work integrated learning. I was at a conference just last week in Durban.
Sure.
Work integrated learning Africa. And the lessons I picked up from there was that in order for us to drive it to be a occupational experience rather than just a theoretical experience, we have to use work integrated learning, because with work integrated learning, we're then able to influence the companies. We're able to say to a company X, please come into college. This is our curriculum. Advise us. Take these learners into your business so that they are able to expose themselves to this particular business and change the way they think. Not only take the learners, also try to take the lecturers, because you have to expose the lecturers before you expose the learners, or else the learner will come back with new information and the lecturer won't be able to answer that particular learner. So it's through work integrated learning. I think it's a process. It won't be today, it won't be tomorrow, but it's through these programs of work integrated learning that we are able to now start to influence the curriculum so that it is more built into it keys into the workforce. Yeah.
At what age do you think it would be appropriate for us to start these work integrated, these work-based experience, and allowing kids, to get into a workplace? Because I'm going to tell you what, I think I've been, and I say fortunate.
Yeah.
I use the word fortunate. I've been fortunate enough this year already. I've gotten 3 requests from high school kids saying, we want to get into radio.
Yeah.
Can we come and sit with you? And I'm saying, but I mean, these are obviously grade 11, grade 12 learners. But I'm thinking, at what age should we start? When is it right for us to pull a kid into a studio or into an office or whatever it may be?
At the youngest.
Okay.
At the youngest. I have a friend. Is Mr. Naidu. He owns a couple of spaza shops, if you can call them that. They're smaller shops, but he has quite a number. From the age of 4, the children started 4 years. The children started going to the workplace. You may not think they are picking up much in the workplace at 4.
Got you.
But when they get to, by the time you're exposing them, and then when they get to 12, by the time the child is 15, he's able to run that store. So as young as possible. So that we need to have an entire mindset change. The only way to have a mindset change is not to try to influence someone when they're 21. They're already stuck in the laurels. You'd rather try to influence someone at a much younger age. Even if it's in bits and pieces. Doesn't have to be overwhelming. Even if it's in bits and pieces. My father, for example, used to take us to his workplace. He was an interpreter.
Okay.
Because of that, I now know 2-3 things about the courts.
All right.
They may not be things that are life-changing things, but it's things that I know because my father used to take us to the courts, and we were able to interact with policemen. We were able to interact with the lawyers. We were able to interact with the judges. So I might have not gone into that path, but it did influence me when I think about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we are speaking to Nhlanhla from SWGC, Southwest Gauteng College. That is, actually love what you just brought up right now, occupational experience versus theoretical experience. I think, as a country, we focus so much on the theory.
Yeah.
And and this is not us, taking a jab at the Department of Education or anything
Yes.
like that. But I think at the end of the year, we listen to the Minister of Education. Province A has gotten so many distinctions, and all these things, high performing schools, the highest performing schools, and all of that.
Yeah.
It's all good and well. It's theoretical. The practical, that's where now it all just does come down to. Now, SWGC, I mean, you guys are very much, there's a balance between the theory and the occupational part of it, and or call it the practical part of it, and everything else.
Yep.
And hence, you guys placing learners within different businesses and environments and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Since you started at SWGC and since you started in this role, can you give a figure of how many learners you guys have placed?
Work integrated learning, we have placed well in excess of about 1,000 learners.
Sure.
Yeah.
1,000 learners work integrated. How many of those are permanently employed today?
I think that's the other thing. That's the other side of it. So many of them go back into internships. They might have been what has since happened with host employers sometimes. Sometimes they see the opportunity of having a workforce that they don't necessarily have to pay for.
Oh yeah.
So it becomes difficult. Not really difficult. They then decide maybe this part we can use interns. In a year and a half, we can get more interns so that we can replace this one.
Replacing these ones.
Yeah. So there are quite a number. I would say about 50% plus are now in permanent jobs at these different institutions that we place as learners. But some of them have gone and maybe furthered their studies. Some of them have gone into learnerships. So there are many different career paths that they take, these learners. And at the end of the day, things even out, as I said earlier on. At some point, things even out because it's the law of the universe. You cannot put in without getting back. So the 18 months, for example, that they do put in, at some point, they do get back.
In the form of permanent employment at some place.
At some place in the form of a placement or a permanent job.
But I mean, do you guys prepare the learners that, look, you may go into, this company to do your 18 months internship, but doesn't necessarily mean that this company is going to employ you.
Yes, we definitely do.
Sure.
At the beginning of every single project, we have inductions.
All right. Yeah.
So these inductions are very intense. They explain not only the contract that they are getting into, but what is expected of them. And usually, if we do have a funder there, the funder will be there to also present their side.
All right.
If we have a host employer there, the host employer will present their side. Then the college will also present their side. So yes, we do. We do. But I guess it's human nature. It's sort of natural that, yes, you may listen to that. But now when you are at the workplace, you feel like you're part of the furniture. You feel like you work.
I've arrived.
Yeah, I've arrived.
Yeah.
You're working there. So it's difficult to tell a person, no, remember that company. And sometimes it's a good thing that they believe so much, just as long as they accompany it with action. If you believe, it's fine. You can tell your CEO, I'm going to work here. But you must accompany that with action.
Sure.
You cannot.
You got to be able to back that up.
Yeah. You cannot just think that it will come pie from the sky.
Well, hey, man. Now the other thing as well, how many of those learners? Because I mean, what do? It's 18 months at the college, and then they'll come and do an 18 months within a certain work environment.
Yeah.
After that 18-month period, what do? Do they come back to the college? Is there a graduation of some sort? What happens after the 18 months?
Yes, exactly that. They come back into the college. That host gives us a letter.
Sure.
The letter will state what the learner has done, what the learner has been exposed to, curriculum-wise and beyond the curriculum, which we do advise because it's good to have a wider scope of exposure. And then after that, what happens is that we apply for the diploma, then it gets accepted, then we have a graduation for them.
Sure.
Then they have a diploma.
And it's, I mean, at this place, you guys don't offer anything beyond the diploma as a college. They've got to go elsewhere if they want to study further, that is.
At the college, at the level of the college. If they want to study further, we then refer them to the universities.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they can actually do another different diploma. Yeah.
There's a friend of mine on Twitter this morning actually woke up and she was saying that her tweet was along the lines of this thing that we all can't be entrepreneurs has got to be fixed up in whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurship. I mean, we're told that to address the unemployment rate in this country, you know what I mean? We need to breed more entrepreneurs and everything.
Yeah.
else. As a college, what are you guys doing in terms of that?
We're actually running SMMEs.
Okay.
In the different campuses. The SMMEs are not only, as we said, that we are looking to not only impact the learners within the college, but we are looking to impact the community at large.
Gotcha.
These SMMEs are mainly for information. One, for example, I have a retail store, small retail store, and maybe I need advice on finances. That person from the community must be able to come into the college and get advice on finances from the partners that we have created. So we will have seminars, workshops, that type of intervention, so that these people from the community are also impacted by the college that sits around them.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. No, man, it's kind of exciting, you know. I like the ecosystem, you know, at SWGC, you know, in terms of there's the learning part of it, the theory. Yes, we will give you that, but then, you know, there's a bit of that practical as well that will, you know, focus on the work-based experience as well.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a difference between the work-based experience program and the internship program.
Yes.
What's the difference there, quickly?
Okay. The work-based experience program is the one that is meant for just exposure.
Okay.
So it's meant to just expose the learner to the working environment at a minor scale.
Sure.
While your internships are the ones that will lead to a diploma, for example.
Oh, okay.
So you will do your 1 year, 6 months theory, then you will do a further 1 year, 6 months practical.
Internship, that is within
internship within a particular company.
host company.
Yes.
Now the work-based experience program.
Yeah.
Is it open to any of the learners within the SWGC?
It's open to every learner within SWGC.
Right.
It's all the in-program learners that must be exposed.
program.
Yes, in-program learners that must be exposed. Because we find that we want to expose them as late as it is, as I said. We at least want to expose them to 2-3 companies before they complete their studies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the internships, obviously, that is for a certain group of learners as well.
Yes.
So it's not open to everybody else. That's for a certain group.
The internships, you almost earn it, because you have to do the 1 year, 6 months.
Got that.
Yes.
Got that.
Yeah.
All right. Nhlanhla is his name, and he is from Southwest Gauteng College. That is, man. We're talking learnerships and all those kind of things and whatever it may be. But there's another side to this here gentleman. He's all suited up today. Don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you. By the way, if ever you are in need of an MC or a host for your events, this man has some impeccable skills. Trust me on that one. But another side to him, as we said, he's a musician and he's a part of this band.
You know this is K Radio.
You get your good days, you get your ordinary days. Therefore the band.
Therefore the band.
Oh my goodness, man. Musician at that. And you did mention Vince Tech. That's just kind of like where you decided to go dabble into this whole music thing.
Yeah. I think I started before that.
Okay.
But really, when I was at Verts, I was able to. Things opened up.
Sure.
I was able to go to clubs and see other people perform. And I think one of my greatest influences for starting a band is Dumi from The Volume. he made me want to have a band because he is the benchmark.
By the way, Bargain, the 90s kids.
Yeah.
2000 kids.
Stogie T.
Stogie T.
Yeah, Stogie T.
Yeah, you guys know Stogie T. We know Do Me.
Bring back Do Me. Bring
Oh,
back Do Me.
man. Give us Do Me and the volume.
Please.
That's who we know. So that was your influence, right?
Yes, I would say locally that was the main influence. Internationally, the Roots Band. So those are my two main influences that made me say, I want to have a band. I want to perform with a band, and nothing else.
The formation of therefore the band.
Yeah.
How does that happen? What sparks it? Okay, so you got that influence. You're looking at Do Me and the Roots, and I mean, obviously, late 90s, 2000s. This was their time.
Yep, definitely.
All right.
Yep.
I mean, late 90s Do Me and the volume was booming, but the 90s. It was the Roots.
Yeah, it was the Roots. Yeah.
You know, we got into so some of us got introduced to hip hop, the Roots. That's what's happening at this time. What then moves you to therefore the band?
Right. How it all started? It started out at Vista. As I said, I was in Davidson. When I came back from the burbs of Auckland Park back to the hood in Davidson, I took all that influence, and when I got to the school, there was nothing to do.
Okay.
There was absolutely nothing to do. So we decided to formulate this group called Soul Fusion. And from Soul Fusion, there were poets, there was drama. It was a beautiful fusion of arts from different skill set, you can say. And then from that group, we decided to start Soul Fusion, the band.
Okay.
So we started Soul Fusion, the band, and we started getting in instrumentalists. When we started with Soul Fusion, the band, when we performed in so many places. It's funny that the world doesn't know me, but it's okay. This is how things work sometimes. But the band was a beautiful mixture of a vocalist, a lady vocalist who was also a poet, myself who is a rapper poet, a songwriter, and a four-piece band. So then we were called Soul Fusion. Over time, things happened, things changed, and then we formulated therefore the band. The core of Soul Fusion remained.
Sure.
So about 4 of the guys that were in Soul Fusion remained in there for the band, and we've grown from strength to strength, man.
But what's made you besides your love for music? What's made you stick it out for so long? Because if you look at the music landscape in South Africa, it's not easy.
It is difficult.
It is not easy.
Yeah, it is definitely difficult. To me, music. You know, in studio, we are speaking here, and all I can hear, except our voices, is silence.
Sure.
If I don't do music, that would be me. There wouldn't even be voices.
Okay.
It would be I would be bringing my heart to a halt by stopping music. It's so entrenched in my spirit and soul that it's natural to me. So that is why I've stuck at it for so long. And even worse, stuck at having a band for so long. Because, you know, venues don't want to book bands. You know, they'd rather book that one DJ that will play all night. It's cheaper. Yeah, venues don't want to book it. It makes sense financially. But at the end of the day, I think things are going back to a live element. The type of music that has been produced over time now, it's music that you listen to today, and tomorrow you really don't want to hear the song. In a year or so, it's okay. Don't play me a song. What else does that artist have? But when you look at influences like Sade, where Sade could release an album and tour with it for 10 years, that for me, that is a necessary part of music.
Yeah.
It's necessary to also have the other side of music, Don't get me wrong. It's very necessary to have the other side of music.
commercials.
The commercial side. Because at the end of the day, it keeps us going. You will have your Fiat that will produce an Uno, but own a Ferrari.
Got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
If record companies thought that way, that there are artists that are there for you to benefit from commercially, but you could have a library of music where you could, it will last forever.
Yeah.
When you own that music or you are part of the ownership of that music, you have a music there that is going to last for ages. So sometimes longevity is something that companies don't look into. They look into instant gratification.
Ordinary Days. Where was it written, recorded, and when?
This song, I wrote it over a period of 3 years. Yeah. The first thing that came was the melody for the chorus.
Yeah.
Then I just recorded it. Then in 6-7 months, the words came. And then after a year or so, the first verse came. Then after a year later, the second verse came.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs that I don't think I wrote. It was almost given to me.
Okay.
It was almost given to me on a silver platter to say, okay, now you must write this part. It's almost as if there was a voice. I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost as if there's a voice that says, now you must write this part or get into this part. That I could just not deny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the name Therefore the Band? I mean, from Soul Fusion to Soul Fusion the band. Now, Therefore the Band.
Yes.
That name, why?
All right. You know the mathematical equation.
Yeah.
You know the maths
Yeah.
that we used to do in
Yeah.
high school. We had this mathematical equation. You would do the mathematical equation, and the answer would say, therefore, 50, for example. So we as a band, we feel as if we are the musical
Okay.
equation that is trying to get the answer to what music really is.
Therefore.
The band.
Therefore, I do tell you, man. Oh my goodness, this right here is the open book on K Radio, Radio for the People. We're talking to Nhlanhla, acting manager in the new business department out at Southwest Gauteng College. But he's also a musician at that, man. And as I said, a very impeccable MC or host for your event. So yeah, you can book him. He'll bring along his band. When you book him, the entertainment will be him and his band. Tell you what, man, let's take a bit of a break. We'll be back just now.
You know this is K Radio.
Robert Glasper Experience, Erica Badu, Afro Blue. The only reason why we just went that route is because this man is a very musical guy, you know. And we're talking about bands and everything else, and the fact that, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're not kind to bands. I mean, we're not kind to music. You know, we want something that just comes in right now, gives us R1 million, and we move past to the next one that's gonna give us the next R1 million. We're not really focusing on the art of music.
What I've seen is that, have you ever seen a commercial that irritates you? There's commercials that irritate you that you hate.
Infomercials.
Yeah. They will play it over and
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
over and over again. By the time you have listened to it the 5th, 6th time, you are singing to it. So the question
Understand.
becomes, if they were to play this type of music on radio enough times or give it enough airtime, would the people change their minds? That's the question. It's possible.
Yeah.
If you play something more than 2, 3, 4 times, the brain makes new connections. And when it makes new connections, it adapts to that and assimilates. So many times we are given what we are given But at the end of the day, I wouldn't blame the market.
Okay.
I wouldn't blame the market. The market is actually, funny enough, I think, personally, I may be wrong, I think the musical market is a market that follows.
Mm-hmm.
If the big wigs say Tsepo Squai is the new it thing, the market will want to hear what Tsepo Squai has to give. So it's not a case of whether the market, if we give something to the market, the market will assimilate eventually. So at the moment, we are giving them that. So that is what they are in tune and in line to.
Yeah, ne? Got you, man. But as therefore the band, is an album out? Are there plans of another album? What are the plans?
We finished recording an album.
Sure.
Ordinary Days, the single. We shot the video. The plan is to release the album before the end of the year.
Okay.
Difficult as it is, because we are going the route of we are doing it on our own.
Independent, yeah?
Indie, yeah. So with that comes a lot of costs. Difficulty getting to radio stations. So it's not easy.
Yes.
It's not easy, but I think in the end it's going to be worthwhile. We are looking for an overseas tour because for some reason when you come back from an overseas tour you are accepted better in South Africa.
Yeah.
Then you are like, oh, certified. Hey, you've been to America, so it means that you really have something. Sometimes you're appreciated outside of the country more than you are appreciated in the country. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of bands that I can think about. I mean, you look at the Parlor Tones, you look at Prime Circle, you look at so many bands that literally packed it up, went overseas.
Yep.
And it's like, hi, man.
Yes, now, yeah, hey.
Now all of a sudden,
now you make sense. Yes, now we are proud of you. Yeah. So it's that type of thing. At the moment, we are looking for that so that we can get that type of response. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Currently, one of the things that we did work on, we worked on the Afro Cafe.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you hear that music is life,
yeah,
you must know that I wrote that.
This guy.
So that opening sequence on Afro Cafe is one of the biggest projects that we've had thus far as a band.
Collaborations. Who did you guys work with on the album?
We worked with Stembi. So he produced. Why does this name escape me? The Seed, the
Seed,
not the Seed. Give me another name.
The Soil.
The Soil.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Seed, the Soil, yeah.
It's close. Sure. I guess.
There we go.
Yeah. No. You'll protect me, Mchan.
I got you. Don't worry.
The Soil is one of the producers.
Yeah,
he's one of the producers of The Soil, and we worked with him on the actual album. We haven't featured anyone because it is our maiden album, and we really wanted to bring ourselves out as much as possible before we have other influences.
In terms of, fine, you want to release the album, tour. But musically, who else are you guys looking at working with, or who do you want to work with?
Thandiswa Mazwai. If I can work with Thandiswa Mazwai, I will pack up and sleep at home for about a month and be happy. Because I don't even call her the queen; she's the king. Man.
King Ta.
She is the king, man.
King Ta.
When you listen to her albums, They come from such a genuine place. Yeah. And she's one of those artists that have been able to transcend genres. True. With Bongo Muffin, she does something different. Before Bongo Muffin, with Jackknife. It's Jackknife, yes. With Jackknife, she did something different. True. Did something different than Bongo Muffin. on her own album, she did something different. And all of her albums are different from the other album. So she's one of the greatest influences that we have, and it's something someone would like to work with. We also like to work with Lira, who's from Davidson.
Khalil, I knew.
Kasi to Kas. Yeah. So we'd also like to work with Lira. Actually, before we had the band with Soul Fusion, the band that used to play for me used to play for Lira. So yeah, we used to practice in the same space.
It's gonna happen, my guy.
It's happening.
I see it already.
Yes.
No, it's gonna happen.
It's
gonna happen. That's just that, man. That is just that. Nhlanhla, we gotta round this off.
All right.
You still have 20 million other responsibilities to get to and everything.
Yeah.
Else. But just go back here quickly. SWGC. In your current role, and I never believe in this whole thing of somebody acting like Joe. It's your title. It's your role. Let's just give it to you.
Yeah.
And keep it moving.
Yeah.
What are your plans going forward? You know, how do you wish to kind of impact the college, and affect change within the college?
You know, I always write when I go to meetings on my Facebook. I would say I'm checking in at a meeting, and then I would write changing lives one day at a time.
Sure.
In order for us to change the status quo, it won't happen overnight. And it needs all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. It's not just the colleges. It's not just the host companies. It's not just the seaters or the government. Yeah. But from the structure of the home, we need to actually change the mindsets of these learners so that they believe in themselves. The other day, I spoke to learners, and I told them that chances are you might have not heard this ever in your life before, but I believe in you. Mm-hmm. And it touched one of the learners so much that she came afterwards and said, when you said you believe in me, it was the first time I heard it said to me. And it was the first time I heard it said genuinely. And because you believe in me, why can I not believe in myself?
Sometimes we just need to hear that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to hear that as a people, that somebody believes in us.
Yeah.
For us to start believing in ourselves. Nhlanhla, my guy, really appreciate your time. Definitely go out there and change those lives one day at a time. You are doing that, in terms of the program that you guys have at SWGC. It's awesome. It's mind blowing. I personally believe that the Department of Education has got to come and sit down with you guys. Yeah. The Department of Education has to sit down with employers. Department of Education has to come to the table and have conversation with corporate SA. Mm-hmm. If we have to change the curriculum, let's do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're forever changing the curriculum in any case in this country. But let's change it for the better, to ensure that these learners come out of school ready to work, or ready to be entrepreneurs and all those kind of things. You guys are definitely taking a step in the right direction in doing that. When it comes to therefore the band, go out, go and tour, and we will claim to have known and supported you.
I'm just happy you didn't say drop a verse. It's okay. Whew.
No, you know what? It's because you're dressed this
Thank
way.
you.
But we actually have this thing, the 16-bar challenge.
All right.
Yeah. I was about to let you off the hook.
No.
I was about to let you off the hook.
You can still.
You open that door.
You can still.
You open that door.
Close
16 bars,
again.
my guy. Give us 16. Go.
Let's take it back to the basics. Seen peeps in street corners, beat-bopping and freestyling the beatboxers, beat-boying and breakdancing the desk jockeys. Forget paper and pen, we're putting scripts in our head. Inspiration is spread by the street corners. The wall is painted by the pain that's inside of us. The mic is magnetic. You got nothing to say, then pass it. Cause when you're battling, the action is passive. Passionately, I say hip-hop is part of me. I didn't write the lyrics it wrote me. A small entity within this universe, searching for survival, battling the elements. Whether you're underground, commercial, hardcore, you ain't saying nothing if it ain't for the cause. Mindset change back to when it all started. Children of a lost nation that is misguided. I unify, I create a melanin tar. I unify, I create a melanin tar.
Changing lives one day at a time. He's unifying, create. All the best to you, my guy. Therefore, the band's on Insta. I know you guys are there. Therefore, the band.
Yep.
Yeah, but you personally?
Facebook, Nhlanhla SIboto.
Sure.
Twitter, Xabaking, XABAKING.
Yeah.
Xabaking. That is my Stagazel.
Aha.
Xabaking. Yeah, and those are basically the two platforms I'm most active on. Yeah.
That's just what it is.
I'm not an Insta baby.
All the best to you, and we really do appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you.
Sure.
You know this is K Radio.